Welcome back to another episode of... No? Okay,
Yep, sorry.
I'm Lee.
And I'm Richard.
And we are exhausted.
We're also experienced business owners with over a decade of lessons behind us. We've operated businesses in many different sectors and in many different parts of the world.
A few years back, I wrote a book called Once Upon a Time in Small Business. I thought I'd told all the important stories. Turns out, I was just getting started.
This podcast is all about the messy, honest, human moments behind business, life, and leadership.
We'll take you through each of the chapters of the book with more stories about the lessons we've learned through our businesses over the years.
This is Richly Told.
Today we're talking about being selfish. And we have a confession and an apology to make because we missed an episode last week. We were absent. If you're following along and you are starting to enjoy seeing us every Friday morning, we apologise for that, which actually is a really good segue into talking about being selfish, because we had to make a decision to be selfish last week, and in place of recording our podcast, we had to do some other things that supported our own family and our own well-being. Richard's been a long-time advocate of being selfish.
There's an art to it.
There is an art to it, and I think our upbringing or our social programming makes us always believe that selfishness is a negative thing.
Yes.
And we actually don't think that's the case. If you remove all emotion and social programming from the word selfish, it's just really about putting yourself first. And you can really only be effective when you do that.
Well, I mean, when the cup's full, the cup's full.
Yeah.
And you do have to find time to kind of unwind. And you do sometimes have to put your foot down and say, no, I am not doing that today. Yeah. Today I need some time to myself. Today I need to do what I need to do to relax, unwind, and become productive again. People are very good at taking all of your time.
Yeah.
All of the time.
Yeah.
So, you can have a full schedule every day, and people, if they know they can get you always and you don't have any boundaries, because essentially being selfish is about setting some boundaries, people will take that and run with it.
Yeah.
Before you know it, you're burnt out and you have no time. And we have briefly spoken about this.
It's funny that you say burnt out, because I'm going to break Richly Told protocol a little bit. I've done this once or twice where I've read at the beginning rather than the end, but today I want to read at the beginning and the end from Once Upon a Time in Small Business, because Richard illustrates this really well in the way that he tells stories. In Once Upon a Time in Small Business, I wrote, my husband, also my business partner, has a little story he rolls out every now and then. It starts with him saying, you know, when you fly and in the safety talk, they tell you if there's an emergency to fit your own oxygen mask first. Why do you think that is? And it usually ends with me realising that I'm on the fast track to burning out.
Why is that though? Why do you fit your face mask first?
Well, I think everyone at this point knows that that story or metaphor, or everyone's kind of been on a plane and they know that you can't be an effective helper.
Well, you can't help anyone.
You can't help anyone
if you're in a bad way.
If you're not in the position of strength.
Yeah.
And so I guess that leads us to our last week, and we can talk about our last week. You can probably hear it in my voice. I actually don't have much of a voice.
Yeah, my voice is not great at the moment either.
We are very tired. We've had an intensely difficult week with a lot of things that pulled us in a lot of different directions. I'm not going to say going wrong, because we had some really amazing things. We actually went away on camp as a family for karate, which was incredible, but immersive and very, very...
It was exhausting.
It was exhausting.
But it was physically exhausting, but mentally amazing.
Mentally amazing. But on top of that, we had a bunch of business stuff happening, and just a lot of seeds that were planted that came to fruition all at once. And we weren't really ready for that.
No.
20 years down the track of doing this, we still get taken off guard.
We basically went from the karate camp, which was for our own personal break, straight into a conference that pretty much went all week. Then I had to come back because we had karate grading on Thursday, and then we had to go back to Sydney again the next day.
Yep.
And that pretty much wiped out the weekend the next week. Then this weekend was crazy, And then this week has been absolutely crazy because we've had a key staff member come down with a serious illness where we've had to back up for him. And and here we are again Thursday, which I actually thought it was Wednesday. We'll say busy this week. I forgot to even complain about Monday.
Yeah. And I think we also, backtracking to the apologies, we need to apologise to our producer Rabs, because once again we're getting this to him late, and he's going to work his incredible magic on this late. And thank you to him as well for being such a support to us on this journey, because we couldn't do it without the people in our lives who do support this and do call and say, hey, haven't heard from you, what's going on, what can I do to help you? But back to being selfish.
This last 10 days it has been full on. Like you said, we did plant some seeds over time, and then of course it has to be the week that they all bloomed, and we're running around like Jeremy Clarkson chasing after 60 piglets because he didn't plant it properly. So
if you haven't watched Diddley
Squad or Clarkson's Farm, it's hilarious.
Prime. That's not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor.
Open to it.
That's hilarious.
It's actually, we've been loving watching that. But anyways, that was a side note.
It kind of loops back with everything that we've been speaking about over the last couple of episodes around planning, burning out, moving forward, not giving up. Everything it all kind of ties back together. And learning how to be selfish is an art, because you got to...
how to be. Maybe that it's okay to be.
Well, it's both. But learning how to be selfish is learning how to do it without actually impacting others.
Yeah.
So it's not about having a tantrum. It's not about putting your foot down. But
you can't do it without impacting others.
No, but you can plan. You can actually let people know, hey, I'm away this weekend. Or
I suppose when you've got it front of mind. So, and we say this a lot, learn from us, right? Because people were impacted by us this week. People that listen to our podcast weekly, Rabs, who produces it, they were impacted because some of the things, the decisions we made to be selfish were made more on the fly than with a contingency in mind. So maybe the selfishness needs to come in prior to the meltdown. What's the word?
That's what happens if you don't plan it right.
Yeah, and we didn't. So you already need to start reframing the word selfish in that it's not a negative thing.
No.
Putting yourself first and making sure you have everything that you need and everything that nurtures and protects you and enables you to do your best work, making sure that you have all of that first before everybody else is selfish. But it is also necessary.
Yeah, I mean, not planning properly, which we've spoken about in other podcasts, does lead to these situations.
Yeah.
What you do in those situations, though, is important too. I mean, we did communicate with people. We did let people know what's going on.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Rose. I mean, we spoke today. So that's important too, so people actually know what's going on. But it is about boundaries, and it is about making sure you do set time aside for yourself, because you just have to. You will burn out. I mean, we're exhausted today.
We are. It's funny because I actually had an appointment with my psych today, and we talked about the pockets of time, and she was talking about in more terms of like high-powered like CEOs and executive level jobs, the pockets of time that they get in between things, like the car ride home. And because I was talking about that time in between my kids going to bed and me going to bed, and how much I've come to value that quiet moment. For anyone that doesn't know, Richard quite frequently works nights. So he might not be here. We do karate most nights until about 8:30. And so once we do get home and we get fed and the kids get off to bed, the house is really quiet. Everyone's settled down, and I really love that moment. It's become something that I've been finding essential, to have a cup of tea and just to sit down and spend 15 minutes just decompressing from the day. And that's now my selfish thing, where our son came down last night and said, can I have 10 more minutes? And I said, absolutely not, go back upstairs, because I really needed that time. And that was a selfish moment, but it was something that I knew that I needed to be more effective as a mother and a business owner the next day. And
that's what I mean, my selfish moment is going to the karate. I mean, I do it more often than anyone else in the family, and I do it that much because it is my release. It is what gets me thinking about something else, it gets me, physically sweaty, tired, and I feel great afterwards. It's not even about the actual class itself. It's about the activity.
And I should say that's a non-negotiable for you too.
Yeah, I'm very.
And we all know that.
Very firm on. I'll go to karate by myself.
Now. He will go unless there is an absolute emergency. We can't just go, hey, we don't feel like going tonight. Can we all stay home and go to the pub for dinner? Richard will go to karate, and we know that. We know that's a boundary that he has, and that's an essential need for him to put himself first. And so that's something that we all also respect.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what we're talking about here. It's making sure that you are setting aside time for yourself, and you're firm on it, and you're letting people know, you're communicating with the people around you, because we all need it. We do. And the word selfish, as you said before, it does have this negative connotation, but it doesn't need to. I actually have just found over the years it's quite vital to stay sane and functional and productive and thinking at the top of your game. And ultimately, in the end, everybody is better off when everybody is firing on all cylinders. I mean, we've been going at this for a long time now, and we have experienced frustrations. And the people that know us and that know that our work schedule, we've never suffered a burnout. I mean, there have been some pretty
mini
difficult
burnouts.
times.
I think maybe like tiredness and sort of mini burnouts, but nothing that's taken us to a level where we haven't been able to function or haven't been able to
I'm talking about the classic burnouts that people talk about, where you got to take months off work.
Oh yes,
just to recoup. We've never experienced that. And it's because we do take time to take care of ourselves, and that means setting boundaries, saying, no, I'm not doing that for you today. I've got this on. I will get to that as soon as I'm done.
With great power comes great responsibility. What's that from? That just came into my head. Is that a Star Wars thing? You like to throw in the Star Wars things?
I don't think it's a Star Wars thing.
I need to Google that. With great power comes great responsibility.
I don't think it's a World War II movie.
I don't know.
I can't remember.
But anyway, when I say that, I know that seems like very dramatic, but that's what comes to mind as you're talking. We have a very busy life and we have a lot of things that we want to achieve, and that's because we have those goals. But with those goals comes the responsibility of putting all the things in place so that we can actually achieve those goals.
Yeah, it needs to be managed.
Yeah.
And the last 10 days, we kind of stuffed that up because we had so much happen at once that we didn't plan
weren't ready for it.
And there were consequences.
So I guess the lesson there is you can still come undone. You
can come undone, absolutely.
Even when you plan for it, you can still come undone.
You can plan.
Communication is key.
You can plant 2 crops and none of them work. You can plant 5 crops and they all work.
That's true.
It's crazy. And in turn, then we affected some people around us that we then had to communicate with and work through with. But ultimately, the goal is to stay functional, able to deal with these issues.
Isn't that funny? Because selfishness works because of having a community as well.
Yes.
Like, that's ironic almost.
Well, what does Tom say? You know the rules?
You know the rules?
You know the rules?
Came from his uncle. You know the rules?
So, when we try and get him to do something and he's already got something else planned, he'll turn around and go, you know the rules?
You know the rules?
You know the rules? Hey, fair enough, mate, fair enough. We know the rules, all right. Well, as long as you get that done at some point. Otherwise, those rules won't save you. But even at 9, he's starting to understand that.
Yeah.
And he's quite effective in the things that he does, but he does have his boundaries and he stands up for himself and he says, you know the rules.
Yeah.
Which cracks us up, actually.
So to sum up, selfishness, not a bad thing.
It's about looking after yourself.
It's something you need to start to think about in terms of reframing the idea of what it means. Because I can bet that the majority of people, if I walked up to you and said, are you selfish? They'd say, hell no, I'm not. I help lots of people.
But it's about looking after yourself so you can keep going on to help others.
Yes.
That's what it's about.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it only works with solid communication, a little bit of planning, which comes with being honest with yourself as well, and the idea that selfishness is not a bad thing. So if you are already in that frame of mind, you're already thinking, this is what I need. I need this in order to be able to be an effective human. So therefore, do not talk to me for the next 20 minutes. But that is about communication and also about your community, and you're communicating to your community that this is what you need and this is how you can best support me.
It's kind of a bit like salt, actually. Just popped into my head. You had the...
So I had the... Yeah, okay.
Well, okay,
salt?
Yeah, it's a little bit salt. Yeah, that you put on food, right?
Okay.
Salt's bad for you is what they tell you.
Yeah, but it's not.
But the
We
thing
know
is,
that.
if you cut salt out, your muscles will shut down.
Yeah.
So you need salt. But you need good quality salt. You need electrolytes.
That comes to the conversation of nothing is good or bad. Good or bad is a concept.
We don't really have that much time to go into this
philosophical debate.
Yeah, we can do that off air, but it's essentially what it's about. It's not a bad. Too much of it is a bad thing, like you said.
Yeah.
Too much
selfish is a bad thing.
If you're a very selfish person and you only care about yourself, that's a horrible thing.
That is a horrible.
But if you go, nope, today I'm being selfish because I'm burnt. I've had enough. My cup's full.
But if you're not selfish at all, that's also a horrible thing.
Well, because then you're the guy with no salt and your muscles shut down.
No, but you're doing things for people, but not happily.
Well, and then you can't be doing it for. You can't be doing a good job either.
Resentful and ineffective.
And then your phone rings and you see that guy's name, like, oh God, really, this guy? Yeah. And that guy's not going to get good support now. And I don't want to deal with that. Okay, he's bummed. I'm gonna send him off to the message service and they can talk to him. Yeah, that's my view on it. We're not about being a selfish person. We're just taking moments.
Yeah.
And saying these are my boundaries. I'm happy to help you, but I can't do it from a position of weakness. I need time to get strong, and this is how I'm going to maintain that.
So with that, I'm going to finish up with the rest of that paragraph that I started reading earlier from Once Upon a Time in Small Business. So not long after our last oxygen mask discussion, he asked me if I had a limited food supply, who would I feed first, myself or the kids? I answered the kids. And I think many mothers would do the same. Well, congratulations, he said to me. You may have just killed the kids and yourself. They rely on you for survival, and by putting their needs before your own, all you're doing is weakening yourself. Instead, put yourself first. Stay strong, get better and more efficient at providing for them. Teach them. That is the only way you would all survive and flourish. The next episode will be a surprise because we are about to delve into a deep philosophical discussion.
I thought you said the next episode is going to be a surprise because we don't know what it is yet.
Oh, we're going to go plan that now.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next week.